Japanese maple, and the design in that blossom is something that really moves you. Perfectly beautiful thing. Oh, we do have visible evidence of the beauty that is perfection, and the perfection that is beauty. Yes, beauty is omnipresent. Beauty is indivisible. We observe and are thrilled at the beauty of the flower, the butterfly, the sunrise, but our joy is enhanced by the knowledge that it is infinite beauty. You see, we don't limit it to that, no matter if it is specific. It is specific beauty, but it's infinite beauty just the same as the petals of the rose or whatever. It's still infinite beauty. Yes, it is infinite beauty, infinite perfection we are perceiving, and not a separate perfection, not a separate beauty. Never is the perfection that is beauty perceived or manifested as a separate beauty. It is indivisible, equally present everywhere, but when we are consciously, keenly aware of this indivisible beauty, it is simply that our attention is focalized. That's all. Our attention is focalized on and as the beauty of perfection. Thus, it is the focalization of the infinite, omnipresent, indivisible perfection of beauty and the beauty of perfection. Now, of course, beauty never divided itself and divides itself and becomes a separate personal beauty. It is focalized, but never divided. Never does beauty reveal and evidence itself as a separate person or a personal beauty. There is no separate person, of course. Therefore, there can be no personal beauty. Beauty is God. God is beauty. And who can personalize God? Beauty is as infinite, as equally present, and as completely impersonal as is perfection. Of course, this is true because beauty is perfection, even as perfection is beauty. Nonetheless, absolute perfect beauty is concrete being. Now, we've talked a lot about that, but here it comes again. You'll find that this expression, concrete being, will be coming through more and more and more in all of your considerations, all of your contemplations, because it is of such tremendous importance. It is concrete being. It is focalized, not divided. Beautiful substance as beautiful form and beautiful activity. Now, the beauty of activity is something really to consider too, because from the tremendous artistic beauty of the ballet, we'll say, you can observe an animal in movement. You know, you take a cat in its movement, for instance. It's a thing of beauty, really. It really is. You take the beauty of a bird in flight. There again, you have a thing of beauty. A beauty of movement. Look at the, well, here we have the palm trees. Have you ever studied the beauty of the way the palm branches dance and dance and dance? And the rhythm is absolute perfection. Perfect rhythm. Every time. Watch it, and you'll see. The perfect rhythm is necessary to perfect beauty, whether this beauty be seen or whether it be heard or whatever. whether it is manifested as activity, or a painting, or a symphony, or whatever. It's the same thing. Beautiful activity, a beautiful substance, infinite beauty, is concretized, but not separated. Beauty, grace, symmetry is always infinity, God being itself. All roads lead back to God, every time. Now that which does exist is the evidence of its own being. Now that's something to consider. That which does exist is the evidence of its own being. It is always God being evident as itself. There simply is nothing that is not God. Either it is God or it does not exist. God is absolute perfection. So either any focalization, no matter what it is, either any focalization is perfect or doesn't exist at all. Any substance has got to be perfect. Any substance and form has got to be perfect. Any substance and form has got to be beautiful. It's got to be beauty, or it does not exist. It has to be one or the other. No one, absolutely no one, evidences beauty, perfection, or anything else for that matter, as a separate one. Beauty evidences itself, the same as life evidences. The same as life evidences itself. Even the glorious beauty of the rose does not mean that the rose of itself is evidencing beauty. It isn't the rose itself that, as a separate flower, is the evidencing beauty. Not at all. Rather, the rose is infinite, omnipresent, indivisible beauty, manifesting itself. It is in the same way that no one evidences God. I heard someone one time say, she's a great evidence of God. God evidencing himself, itself. God evidences himself or itself, if you prefer. Consider the lilies as portrayed in the Bible. You'll recall that even Solomon, in all his glory, was not arrayed as one of these. In all his glory. Someone has said that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Yes, if you know that you are beauty, because God, beauty, is all there is for you to be, you surely will see beauty. All is beauty, and there is nothing that is not beauty being beautiful. Now the subject of this next section is you are the truth.
You are what?
The truth. Jesus said, I am the truth. Now Jesus had to know that he was the truth in order to make this significant statement. Jesus knew what he was talking about when he made this statement. To know, really know the truth, means to be the truth itself. Because why? Because we are what we know. We are what we know. And when we really know the truth, we are that truth. And Jesus really knew the truth. So, this is why Jesus could say, I am the truth. I am the truth. You know the truth. Now, in order to know the truth, you have to be the truth that you know. You are the absolute truth, And you will recall that the word absolute means complete perfection, free from any impurity, free from any flaw or blemish. Now this is the absolute truth that Jesus was and is. This is the absolute truth that you are. And as I said before, all truth is absolute truth. You see, otherwise it would be partial truth. And then we can't have a partial truth, because unless it's all the way true, all the way fact, through and through, it's not truth at all. Not at all. So it's all got to be absolute truth. Now when you say, I am the truth, what have you said? You have said, I am the absolute, complete perfection, the purity, without a flaw, without a blemish, that is the truth. Now you said this not only as your entire experience, but you said it, the body itself has said it. Anything you say, the body says. Why? Because what's the difference between the consciousness that you are saying these things and the consciousness that is the body? It's all the same. Not you and the body. You know, we make a mistake there sometimes. To us it seems that it's us and the body, but it isn't. Or the body and us. It's just one. Just one. Every truth is an absolute certain fact. You would not be complete without the body. Completeness is an absolute truth. That's why, you see. And you are completeness. You are every absolute truth there is. It is the absolute truth that you are. The body is the consciousness that you are as substance, form, and activity. Thus you are the body, and the body is the I am consciousness that you are. The body is the absolute truth that you know, but it is not the truth merely because you know it. Wouldn't make any difference whether you seem to know it or not. Still, the body would be, as we said this morning, this truth. Everything that exists is absolute truth. And it's no wonder then that the rose is so beautiful. Because it's absolute perfection, absolute truth. So unless the body were absolute truth, it could not exist. Yes, the body is absolute truth, manifested as substance, form, and activity. Now you can see why this body has to be absolutely perfect. It has to be. I can't help it. It is absolute perfection, evidenced in form, in substance, in activity, focalized. And when you are fully aware of being this absolute truth, perfection, and that everything and everyone is this, it isn't enough just to know that you are, of course. It's the whole, everything, everyone, is this same absolute truth. You find that this body is this truth manifested right here and now. Whatever infinity does not know, man cannot possibly know. That's a tremendous thing to realize. Whatever infinity, the infinite universal all, does not know, man cannot possibly know. Because the infinite conscious living intelligence is all or the only intelligence that exists or that can know anything. In this same way, what infinity does not know itself to be, man cannot know himself to be. Can you see this? Whatever infinity does not know itself to be, man cannot know himself to be. And of course, infinity, conscious of being, is the consciousness that is God being. This is it. Infinity, consciousness being, is the consciousness that is God being. This is you. The consciousness that is God being is the consciousness that you are. Thus, infinity, knowing what it is and conscious of being all that it knows, is always aware of being absolute, complete, eternal, constant perfection. And it is aware of being this absolute perfection as all substance, all form, all activity. Why? Because it is all substance, it is all form, it is all activity, you see. And this absolute truth is all that man can know himself to be. There is no other self-knowledge. There is no other self-knowledge. There is no other awareness of being to be seen, to be known, to be heard, to be felt, or to be experienced. So, infinity is never conscious of pain. How could it be? You know, this thing of pain is something, I can tell you that it is possible to reach a point beyond what seems to be pain, regardless of how things may seem to be. And this point is reached when one is fully aware that infinity is never conscious of pain, and that it is utterly impossible for you to be conscious of anything that infinity knows not. Infinity is never conscious of pain, so it can never be conscious of being in pain. It is not conscious of pain, so it can never be conscious of being in pain. Infinity, this boundless universe, knows nothing whatever of pain. Infinity is never conscious of imperfection, so it can never be conscious of being imperfect. All right? You are the consciousness that is infinity. So you can never be conscious of imperfection. Therefore, you can never be conscious of being imperfect. Infinity is never conscious of deterioration, of age, decay, or death. Thus, it can never be conscious of deteriorating, of aging, decaying, or dying. Infinity is never conscious of birth or beginning. Can you imagine infinity being conscious of being born, of having begun? Well, how can you be that? How can you be conscious of anything that infinity knows not? Because, and you aren't. Thus, it can never be conscious of having begun. And beloved, the infinite consciousness is the consciousness that is man, capital M. This is the consciousness that is the substance, form, and activity, that is the only body of man, and there is no other consciousness of being that can superimpose itself upon or over the infinite consciousness of being that is man. Now, would you like that last statement again? Yes. There is no other consciousness of being. No, I'd better start back of that. Infinity is the consciousness that is the substance, form, and activity that is the only body of man. And there is no other consciousness of being that can superimpose itself upon or over the infinite consciousness of being that is man. Thus, man is not deceived. You are not deceived. Now here's that light again. You see it? You are not deceived. Infinity can never deceive itself. Infinity can never deceive itself. Therefore, you can never deceive yourself. And certain it is that there is nothing other than yourself that could deceive you. So you are not deceived. Infinity never deceives itself, existing as man, capital M. And this is what you are. Infinity is never aware of incompleteness. You see what the way this is coming through, or did come through, and I'm staying pretty close to the notes tonight. Better. But anyway, the way this is coming through, if you'll notice, every point it's being gone into from every standpoint. There's a completeness about this. I have nothing to do with this. You understand this. But there is a completeness about this that I'm very grateful to perceive. Because no matter what point may come up that seems to, require your focalization of attention or anything like that, here it is. No matter whether it seems to be incompleteness or whether it seems to be trouble. We're going into this from another standpoint in a few minutes, too. Aside from we've had dealt, virtually all the way with the substance, of body, whether it's body of man or whatever, of the tree or what, the substance, the form, and the activity. But we're going to follow through with this in other ways too, in regard to your daily life, because your life is more than just the body. Jesus says the body is more than meat, and the life is more than meat, something like that. No, you're not deceived. Now, infinity is never aware of incompleteness or of being incomplete. Now, they say these awful things about the body being incomplete. In some way, some substance supposed to... I'm going to tell you something right now. It brings it because it's necessary to bring out this point. I've never been one to give testimonials, and I had nothing to do with this whatsoever, so I can give it freely and honestly. But I had we had a letter, Noel and I, from New Zealand, from a man who is a very enlightened one, and reads the ultimate and comprehends it very clearly. And he says that his mother is in her 80s, supposedly. And she had, in the course of events, had some organs, I'll just speak humanly, had some organs removed. And then when something seemed to go wrong this time, it was several years ago, she went to she had asked her son for help, and she went to the hospital, and subsequent examination showed that every organ was there intact. Now, where is incompleteness? You see? Where is incompleteness? That's what I mean. And then, they'll say you don't have enough red something or other. What is it? That's it. All right. Now, that would be incompleteness, wouldn't it? All right. Suppose they say you don't have enough money for car fare. That would be incompleteness, don't you see? all sorts of ways. But the thing, the beauty of this is, that, as I say, that it's following through in and as every aspect of your entire experience. Otherwise, you know something? Otherwise, this would not be complete itself. We've had too much of this partial business, you see. I'm not so sure I haven't been guilty of it myself. You know? Really and truly. No, infinity is never aware of incompleteness or of being incomplete. So it is never aware of anything missing or absent from its conscious completeness. Want to hear that again? Infinity is never aware of anything missing or absent from its conscious completeness. Now thus there is no consciousness of being incomplete or of an absence of any substance, any form or activity. And sometimes they'll say, well, you know, the body isn't functioning completely as it should. Not enough of this kind of activity. Maybe the glands aren't working. Whatever they say, I don't care what they say. You know, well, it's the same kind of, you know, stuff. No, but there cannot be an absence of any substance, form, or activity that is essential now, to the infinite completeness, that is all substance, that is all form, is light, that is all being. Now, this is an absolute truth, this is a certain fact, this is an eternal fact, this is an infinite fact, this is a constant, ever-present fact everywhere. Not only throughout infinity, but as infinity itself. It's that powerful, it's that complete, it's that wonderful, it's that much God. That's it. The only awareness of being there is infinitude, God, aware of being what God is, as we said before, all that it is, and only that which God is. This, beloved, is the I am that you are, and that I am. Now that's something to consider, isn't it? Something to contemplate. Now, in regard to this completeness thing, I said I would branch off a bit. I'm going to do this now because a question that came in this morning brought out this kind of an answer. And I feel that regardless, because it was asked, and because it pertains to this very thing, and because this must be a complete manifestation of completeness, I'm going to say it. Now, sometimes someone will say, well, I feel the body is just functioning perfectly, and the home is functioning perfectly, and everything was fine. But maybe the business is not functioning, maybe there's something wrong with the activity of the business. Maybe there isn't enough supply to run the business. Maybe there seems to be a lack of balance in the business. All sorts of things, you see. All right. Now then we realize that it's all consciousness. What is the difference between the consciousness, this one who's perfectly satisfied as far as the body is concerned? What is the difference in the consciousness of this one who is aware of a good, perfect body, and the consciousness of this one who is this business? Is there any difference? Does this consciousness that is functioning perfectly as a bodily activity, is it confined within the body? Then he has a whole great big life outside of the body, with the body having nothing to do with it at all? How far would he get without a body, anyway? You see? So it's not that kind of thing. But the very same consciousness. You see, the reason why it seems to us that we get all wound up with something that's separate here is because it appears that this is one block of something, but that our lives, other than this, you see, are something that deal with, the outside world and that kind of thing. And there isn't any outside world. There isn't any outside world. It's all one. It's all the same. So the consciousness that functions as a perfect bodily activity is the consciousness that functions as a perfect business activity, and there is no difference. And the consciousness that is complete as every aspect of the body, no matter whether it be organs or what. I'm giving a regular organ recital here tonight. The consciousness that is absolutely complete as every aspect that is this body is also complete as every aspect that is the business. Don't you see? And it doesn't make any difference whether it's the balance in the bank or whether the income has to balance with what do you call it, outgo or something like that. Yeah, the income has a man or a woman either, for that matter, may be very successful in business, and all of that, maybe in supply and all, and still the home doesn't function as it should. There may seem to be some lack of completeness, some lack of perfection, some lack of love even, which is a terrible thing, some lack of harmony in the home. Well, all right. Then if the business is functioning all right, and the body is functioning all right, it's absolutely the very same consciousness that's functioning as the home. Makes no difference. We do not separate the consciousness that we are into the body, the business, the home, the this, the that. You see the point I'm trying to make here? You see? So there it is. Now, probably there will be more on this. I think that I was answering the question today in the room, and some more came through, but I think enough has been said on this for right now. Now, the title of this next section is Perfect Knowledge. All knowledge is perfect knowledge. All knowledge is perfect knowledge. Because all knowledge is absolute, complete consciousness, aware of being all that it is. Now, would you like that again? This thing of knowledge is quite important. All knowledge. All knowledge is perfect knowledge, because all knowledge is absolute, complete consciousness, aware of being what it is, all that it is, and only that which it is. There never has been, is not now, nor will there ever be Anyone who knows himself to be imperfect. No one has ever known himself to be imperfect. No matter how impossible this seems. No one has ever known himself or herself to be imperfect. How could he? Because there is not that kind of knowledge. All knowledge is perfect knowledge. So, there we go. There is no imperfect knowledge. There never has been and is not now and never can be anyone who knows himself to be temporal. Knows, this sounds like an argumentative thing, but it's an absolute truth. It's a certain fact. No one ever has known himself to be a temporary, born, facing death human being. There is not that kind of knowledge, because all knowledge is absolute knowledge. So, there is no temporary knowledge. There is no temporary knowledge. Then how could there be anyone be aware of being temporary? How could anyone have knowledge of being temporary when there is no temporary knowledge? That's clear, isn't it? All knowledge, all that can ever be known, is infinite, eternal, constant intelligence, complete as itself. And this eternal knowledge is everyone, everything, all substance, all form, and all activity. Incidentally, I don't know whether you have read much in the scientific magazines or not, but I've noticed particularly lately that those who work in astronomy, the astrophysicists and those, they're increasingly amazed at the intelligence that this universe manifests, how intelligently it operates. I've been reading quite a lot about that. Another thing they're saying that delights my heart is that everything, so far as they can tell now, everything is a fulfillment, everything in this universe fulfills a purpose of some kind. So there you have your fulfillment of purpose. You have your intelligence universe. Well, but of course it would be an intelligent universe. How could it help but be? Is it not intelligence itself? Being intelligent? So, and that which appears to be an imperfect, temporary born being or life is but a phantasmal motion picture, very much as the pictures one can see in the clouds. No more substance, no more genuine activity, or as the figures we see in the flames in the fireplace. There simply is no such substance, no such form, and no such activity as that which appears to be man, born man, that is, it appears, the way it appears, his body and his activity. But there is visible evidence in form, visible evidence in active substance in form, and this substance is here, eternally, constantly. This is the constant fact. This substance in form is the Spirit made flesh. Remember about that in the Bible? The Spirit made flesh. That's what this is. This substance in form is the Spirit made flesh. It is the body of the everlasting, ever-living flesh. Regardless. This is what we were talking about yesterday morning. This is a great revelation we had. The thing that delighted me about this revelation that came through so beautifully was that it seemed to fill this gap, as to how it could be. I knew that it could be. I knew that it was being, actually. but have seemed to fill this gap as to how it could be that this body right here could remain visible, regardless, and that it's enough to give us great a confidence, a faith, and hope. Well, more than hope, a confidence that we do not have to indefinitely go on with this thing of seeming to have to die. I'm sick of this thing of having to die business. No, really, I think we've about had it, don't you, on that? I think we should have a long, long while ago, really. Why we haven't, I don't know. But one thing I do feel is the reason why it's well, let's say in slang terminology, coming to a head now, is because, well, yes, of course. It's because the world today seems to be faced with this nuclear warfare. That's the way it appears, you see. So now the necessity, absolute necessity is here for us to face this thing and see as far as we possibly can see and be what we see, you know. And that's why this is coming to a head, this thing about, you know, I never did somehow or other, I never could accept this thing of so-called death. Even as a child, I couldn't accept it. I just couldn't. I couldn't see any God in anything like that. And I still can't. So, we are faced with a necessity. So, now I don't know how I got off on that. Yes, this substance in form is the spirit made flesh. It is the body of the everlasting, ever-living flesh. It consists of living, intelligent, omniactive consciousness, and it is identifying, it is revealing, and it is evidencing itself as the eternal body or embodiment of itself. And this, beloved, is the body of the ever-living flesh. This is, you know what it says, the spirit made flesh? You know, spirit is consciousness. It's consciousness visible as flesh. Spirit made flesh is consciousness visible as flesh. It is not an assumptive body of a supposed born man. There is no born man to have a body of any kind. Not really. No born man, not really. Yes, it's true. There does seem to be a born baby body that has nothing to do, actually, with the body of man that existed as that specific identity before this seeming born baby appeared to appear. That's the body that is. Well, I don't know if I can. Let's see now. This light is so very bright in here. This light is so very bright in here. You're just too brilliant. No, I said, as I remember it, that it is true that there does seem to be a born baby body. No denying that fact. But this has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that the body of that identity, now the body of that identity existed complete and as it is before and even during what seemed to be that birth. This is a fact. It doesn't seem to be apparent, but that's a fact. And now I'm going to tell you something that I did not intend to say tonight, but I'm going to say it now. It is this eternal body of this eternal identity that is infinitude itself, of course, and this is the eternal body that appears, mind you. It appears to, well, it's as a newness, as a constant newness of even what seems to be the body, but it's really the genuine body. Well, let's say, I don't have the words, taking over. Is it clear? But do you see how this is? Because it's the infinite body manifesting itself as it always has. And so regardless of what seems to be the illusion of a born baby body, still this infinite body that is infinity itself, constantly new, the ever-living ocean of boundless life, you see, this simply asserts itself, you might say. Oh, I could shout. But it really does. It asserts itself, it reveals itself, it identifies itself, and it manifests itself visibly, even though it may appear to have originated as a baby body, but it did not really, because it's the same body anyway. Clear? Kind of big, isn't it? But you know, it is the absolute truth. It's an absolute fact. There are some of these things that have come through that I hope you will not quote. At least not yet. As you know, I've held back absolutely nothing in this class. Not a thing. And I will tell you something. It's aroused quite a lot, even among some who've been coming to the class. But I can't help that. I can't help that. I can only speak. I have no power to speak other than is revealed. And as the words come, so they must be spoken. I have no choice. I wouldn't want one anyway. So let the attacks come. I know them not. I don't know anything about them. Not a thing. No, this substance in form is the spirit, the infinitude, the infinite consciousness that is God Himself appearing, revealing itself, identifying itself, manifesting itself as that which is called this body of flesh. Beautiful thing to realize, isn't it? You accept this? You accept it?
Yes.
I'm so grateful, really. No, it consists of living, intelligent, omniactive consciousness. And it is identifying, revealing, and evidencing itself as the eternal body or embodiment of itself. You know, that's the only way we're going to see through this death thing. That's the only way. I can't see any other way. And that's why this is being revealed. That's why. And there's enough God consciousness in this room right now. This God consciousness that we are is not confined to this room. We're love itself. We really are. And there's enough consciousness that is God Himself in this room to revolutionize the whole world Because we've had proof again and again and again that the truths that we see, the truths that we perceive, are seen and known, sometimes the exact words, in virtually every country in the world, excepting some of those, and even some of those behind the Iron Curtain, when they can get the news out. So look at the power of love that we are here. This is why we're here too, you see. You know, sometimes, just before I'll come down to talk, I always, of course, I'm in a contemplation before whatever is to be revealed, let it reveal, let it reveal. But sometimes the feeling of love, sometimes the feeling of the greatness of it, and the marvel that it should be revealed, or I should be able to perceive any of it at all, is so great that I'm so moved that it's very difficult to talk when I do get down here at first. And that's that. I think you felt that sometimes, haven't you? I'm sure you have. It is not an assumptive body of a supposed born man. There is no born man to have a body of any kind. The body that is infinity, embodied eternally as just what infinity is. And this is God. God, God. This explains why this body is not subject to or governed by non-existent laws of a non-existent kind of body. This body is not subject to nor governed by non-existent laws of a non-existent kind of body. No, it is completely infinitude, God, revealing itself visibly. Isn't it a wonderful thing? Now God is visible. Now God is visible. Revealing itself visibly, identifying itself visibly, evidencing itself visibly. It has to reveal, identify and evidence itself visibly as absolute perfection, because absolute perfection is what it is, all that it is, and only that which it is. This room is certainly full of God. Infinite, eternal, absolute perfection cannot and does not reveal and evidence itself imperfectly. Could perfection evidence itself imperfectly? Would it be perfection if it did evidence itself imperfectly? Indivisible infinitude does not evidence itself as separate persons. How could it? When it's one indivisible, infinite all, it does not identify itself. Identity has nothing to do with division, not a thing. All substance is consciousness, being infinite, absolute, eternal, inseparable, loving, and beautiful, and beautiful. Even the substance and form called the body is indivisible. You know, this body is indivisible. That's a fact. It's complete as one integral, indivisible focalization. This is true because it consists of the boundless ocean of omnipresent infinity, and the body is but an eddy of the infinite, ever-flowing, surging, purposeful movement of infinite, absolute consciousness. Absolute perfection is eternal, constant life, consciousness, intelligence, love. I may skip something here because I think we've covered it. Can't do it. Every identity is absolute, perfect, complete infinitude, identifying itself. Every revelation, this is if I can skip it, every revelation is infinite perfection revealing itself. And you experience your own self-revelation. And every revelation is infinite perfection revealing itself. Every manifestation is absolute, perfect infinitude evidencing itself. You are the manifestation. You are the infinitude that is manifested, you see. The foregoing being true, every identity is in the kingdom of heaven, and every identity is the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven. Harmony, complete, absolute perfection. Indeed, the ground whereon we stand is holy ground. Why? Because we are the ground whereon we stand. We are the holy ground whereon we stand. This is why. This is what is seen, this is what is known, this is what is comprehended when one is in full illumination. And there is full illumination going on in this room. I see it. I see you. I see it. Well, I feel that how our subdivision. Yes, there's a little bit more here, and then I think we can have a seventh sentence. Drag. Every identity that calls upon you for help is the very same infinite, absolutely perfect consciousness of being that you are. Now you know this to be true, don't you? Thus, every identity, being the infinite, indivisible consciousness that you are, is aware of being just what you are aware of being. In like manner, the infinitude, that is the consciousness that exists, as the supposedly most enlightened identity in the world, the universe, anywhere, is identified and evidenced as the consciousness that you are.
I hope you enjoy this spiritual audio. Like, share and subscribe for more.